Hey everybody, welcome to Top 10 Thursday on the Mana Leak. I'm John as always, and this week we're going to go back a few sets and take a look at the top 10 art of Oath of the Gatewatch. Top 10 Thursdays have been on hold for the past month or so, as I've been alternatively sick or busy with work/life for the past 4 weeks or so, but hopefully they'll be back on track now. So let's continue with the top 10 art series. Now, Oath of the Gatewatch was a little tricky to get 10 art pieces that I really liked. The art was interesting for sure, but it was definitely alien with all the Eldrazi stuff, which can make it a little bit hard to find pieces that I really like. But let's take a look on what I decided on. Up first at number 10, we have Goblin Dark Dwellers by Stephen Belladin. These things are creepy, like really creepy. Zendikar goblins are some of the creepier / ugly goblins across all the planes of Magic, but these ones especially so. Having presumably lived only underground, they've evolved to the point where they don't even have eyes, and they have very large, built-in ears. Very alien. I almost wonder if living underground where Kozol X was hanging out for a while kind of helped warp them or something. But who knows? Anyways, number 10, Goblin Dark Dwellers by Stephen Belladin. Up next at number 9 is Kozol X Translator by Izzy. Now, I don't really care about the translator itself. It's relatively generic Eldrazi with tentacle legs with Kozol X floating doodads. What I really like, and this will come up again and again throughout this list, is the Bismuth Corruption. Wherever Kozol X kind of goes, or where his brood goes, the land just sort of turns into the element bismuth. If you haven't seen it before, it's an actual element, and it looks just like that. It's this sort of that oily rainbow color effect that happens, and it is this really cool sort of staircase crystalline structure. It's really cool, and I love the effect, how it's been done in the art, and just the idea of Kozol X turning everything into bismuth. Seeing it deep into the water and then sort of coming up to the sandy shore is a really interesting transition too. So number 9, Kozol X Translator. Number 8 is Crumbling Vestige. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I do like the original art by Zach Stella, with the tiny little bit of colorful land surrounded by Ulamog's sort of bone/calcium corruption, but I really like the F&M promo art by Jonas De Roo. The spire of land with a relatively lush section of trees up there at the top, completely surrounded by bismuth corruption. The crystalline structure's not quite there as much, but the color is. With a sort of clouded sun, is just really beautiful. This piece I would easily put on my wall. At number 7 is Bailiff Pup by Steve Prescott. Not too much to say about this one. It's just a cute little baby Bailiff stomping through a swamp, sending weird three-eyed frogs and fish flying. Probably the only cute or funny type art card in an otherwise really aesthetically dark set. Number 6 is Eldrazi Mimic by Craig J. Spearing. What I really like about this is what I assume is the inspiration for this creature. It looks extremely similar to a tardigrade, also known as a water bear or a moss pig, and this is what a tardigrade looks like. They're these tiny microscopic creatures that have been found on every biome on Earth. Deep sea, rainforest, Antarctic, mountains, they're everywhere. They're really weird, they're really alien looking, but they're real, they exist in our world, and so it seems like a perfect inspiration for a weird Eldrazi monster. Up next at number 5 is Ruin in Their Wake by Jason Felix. Again, bismuth, but this time the composition's really cool, showing Kozol X on the left turning the land to bismuth wherever he goes, and Ulamog on the right turning the land to bone wherever he goes, is really cool. Thankfully, there's no disturbing Emrakul turning every piece of land into weird tentacles wherever she goes. At number 4 is Mirror Pool by Cliff Childs. I'm not entirely sure I understand what's going on here, but the colors and the contours are just really cool. Unfortunately, I could not find a full-sized image of this art because I'm sure we could see a lot more detail and kind of figure out what is going on in this landscape if it wasn't just the card size. But very cool piece nonetheless. Number 3 is Tears of Valakut by Noah Bradley. Now, Noah Bradley is the darling of Reddit, so you probably have heard of him. And his landscapes are absolutely gorgeous. Just an amazing landscape artist. This is one of the more active landscapes that he's done, showing an erupting Valakut. Did you know that erupting volcanoes actually do create lightning storms here on Earth? Because, you know, an erupting volcano needs to be more terrifying. It can't just have lava. It needs lightning, too. Well, Noah knew, and he depicted it here amazingly. Tears of Valakut, really, really cool art. Definitely number 3. Up next at number 2 is Meandering River by Cliff Childs, his second on the list. Lands are the plane of Zendikar's real draw. It's what Zendikar does, is land. And if I was including basics in this list, there'd be a ton of lands in this set, but I limited the number of lands in the set, or number of lands that appeared on this list. But Meandering River had to make this list. This river that just sort of meanders through the sort of staircased landscape of Zendikar is really, really cool. I like the mist effect that's kind of surrounding the landscape where the waterfalls are and whatnot. Really, really pleasant piece that we didn't really get too many of during the Eldrazi's destruction of Zendikar. Most of the pieces are pretty dark. This one, kind of bright, kind of happy. Finally, at number 1, we have more lands, in fact 2 lands. The Wastes, the Ulamog one by Jason Felix, and the Kozol X one by Raymond Swanland. Now, the Bismuth one is the true number 1 for me, because I love Bismuth so much. It just looks so cool. But I do really like the Bone one as well. It almost looks like bleached coral or rocks full of fossils. It's a really cool detail that we really didn't get too much of during Ulamog's corruption of the land. Maybe we just didn't see the Ulamog corruption as much because it doesn't stand out. It's just kind of white land if you're not looking at it in great detail, whereas the Bismuth really stands out in the art because it's super colorful in this, you know, clear geometric pattern. Anyways, the Bismuth one is super cool. I'd love a print of it, especially because it's full art, meaning that it would be a different aspect ratio. It would be up and down as opposed to side to side. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for the top 10 art in Oath of the Gatewatch. I definitely still plan on going through every Magic set, probably ignoring the heavy reprint sets like the early core sets, though I'll likely start with sets that I'm most familiar with, meaning that Urza's block to Scars of Mirrodin block might take longer for me to make series of, just because I'd have to go through every single piece of art, because I'm not really familiar with them. But let me know what your favorite Oath of the Gatewatch art was. Let me know what sets you most want to see top 10 lists for in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at TheManaLeak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeak, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeak, and Patreon.com/TheManaLeak if you want to become a backer there. That way you can help support the channel financially. You get rewards for doing that, access to my set review notes, things like that. You can sponsor a draft where you get all the cards that I draft, and whenever you hit $60, if that takes you 1 month or 60 months or however many months it takes you to get there, as soon as you've donated $60 over the lifetime of your backing, you get the Mana League playmat. You get your own copy of it sent out to you. So check that out. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.